Hi, welcome to today's Spotlight on Real Estate. Today we are featuring lender Tim Lindsey from Cross Country Mortgage. Tim, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Renee. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, Tim's team, and it's the Lindsey team at Cross Country Mortgage has some great info today. And Tim, let's just cover what are sort of, everybody likes the top 10 lists from David Letterman. He trained us all. Let's cut
Sure.
that down to five and say, what are the top five don't do's if I'm thinking about buying a house in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a huge Dave Letterman fan. I'm not sure about the giant beard he's carrying around with him now, but I'll make it. I'll make it do. So I would say top five. So if we're whittling down from the 10, don't have any large purchases would be my number one. So no buying cars. We find that a lot of people, they think about buying a house 3 to 4 months after they've just bought a car. And so we're thinking, if you're thinking 6 or 12 or even longer out, like call Renee first, then call us, and let's talk about what your future looks like. Because I'm happy to talk to people 12 months out in advance just to make sure they don't buy the car first. It really impacts that income ratio. So no large purchases, no large transfers. So one of the things that we look for as lenders are things that are out of the ordinary. So if somebody has what we call a large deposit, we're required to source it within certain guidelines. And so we've got people who are thinking about moving large chunks from a family member, or if they're out there in the cartel, like I'm just telling you, don't have those large deposits. So
Smaller
call us
deposit.
first. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's number two. Three, probably want to not have a lot of people run your credit. One of the things that we see, not necessarily in the mortgage world, but if you've got a lot of revolving debt pulls or installment loan pulls, it can definitely have an impact on the credit score. So you want to, whatever you're doing early on, you want to button that up and not having anybody pull any of that. Number four, a lot of it is about not spending a lot of money. So if you're thinking about purchasing a home and you're looking to save, do I put it in the stock market? Do I not put it in the stock market? I would say talk to somebody about that first. Yes, it's important to put money in and make money, but at the same time, it's going to need to be liquid at some point. And if there's a drop like we've seen recently because of COVID, it can have an impact on your overall liquidity and numbers down.
So that's
And I
really
would,
eliminating your variable right there, right?
yes, that's exactly right. And number five, I would say don't spend a lot of time on the internet trying to figure things out. Call Renee, call me. We are the professionals in the business, and we will not lead you astray. We're very transparent here. I mean, I've told people if they've said that they've got a friend who can give them some hookup on a deal, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not going to lie and try to keep you to stay and then find out it's not good. So definitely spend time talking to the people who are the professionals, who know what they're doing versus anything else. I would say those are probably my top five.
That's great. So I'm going to go back through and just sort of recap. Jump in if I say something incorrectly, or maybe you have something to add. So no
Sure.
large purchases. I can't go buy that yacht before I buy my house.
Perfect.
No large money transfers. So if I've got a stack of cash underneath the bed, I need to deposit it in small amounts over the course of the next 6 months so that it's trackable but doesn't raise any alarms, right?
Well, I would say you can deposit it. So in the rule of thumb in the mortgage world is if assuming you're not in a new construction home, 2 months is called season. So as long as I have two bank statements coming to me and it doesn't show the deposit, that's allowable per guideline. So if you're thinking 6 months out and you've got that large stack of cash, then yes,
Great.
we want to get that in for sure.
Perfect. And then not a lot of credit pulls. So this brought up a question for me because a lot of time when people start looking for a house or looking for a lender, they're going to jump on the internet, which is number 5, and they're going to jump on Quicken Loans, and then they're going to jump on another type of Rocket Mortgage, and then they're going to jump on whatever, and all of those pull from your credit. Now, how does that affect it if you're buying in the next 2 months versus if you're buying in 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. So just to be clear on the credit pulls. So if you have a lender pull and you have another lender pull inside of 30 days of each other, it will only count as one hit. So that's just full transparency. What we're talking about is if you're pulling along the way and you're getting outside that 30 days, or more importantly, I think more of it's driven on revolving debt. Most of the continuing education that we've taken, they tell us that if you've got a lot of pulls by revolving debt, that will have a negative impact on the credit score because bureaus are assuming that you're not getting rewarded for the pull with the credit card, for example. And so you're going out and trying other ones. And it's an indication that something's wrong.
Okay.
Where they understand lenders within a short period of time, they understand you may have multiple pulls because you want to shop. I mean, I don't just go to Best Buy and get my TV. I look around, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it just has to be a very dialed in specific amount of time.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
And then don't spend a lot. Eliminate your variables, like your, so you mentioned not putting the money in the stock market. Always, as always, if it's outside of my lane or it's outside of your lane, you're directing you to go to a professional. So check out with a financial planner a better long-term plan for your money. But if you're doing it short-term, don't think that you're going to bet on a penny stock, dump a bunch of money in there, and then lose and make a significant dent, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I'm not a financial planner or a CPA, but that would be my recommendation, is that you want to definitely talk to the professionals about what that risk will look like, because if buying the home is your top priority, then let's focus on that. If it's to make money in the market, then call the right people for that. And you just don't want to put yourself in a worse position halfway through a transaction that causes disruption in your contract.
Inadvertently. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And then step number 5, don't internet shop.
Yeah, I think this just kind of leads back to what you just said about professionals. It's again, Renee, you know what you're doing. You know how to search for the things. You don't just take what somebody gives you online and give them something back. You ask the right questions. You get deeper in the relationship so you can really understand, like, is it a big kitchen you want, or is it the island, for example, right? It's the same idea here. Everybody's like, well, what's the rate? And it's like, well, do you have cash? You can buy down the rate. And you're not going to really, you could Google what a buy down is, but what I'm telling you without a definition, it's going to make more sense.
So there's no replacement for that human interaction, whether it happens via Zoom call virtually, or it happens in person. Having that local lender here close is invaluable.
Yeah. And to your point, we understand the market. We're literally here. And again, the Zoom is fine. I've done a lot of that during this whole last spring, and it's not that personal touch, but it's pretty darn close, I think.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for wrapping up today, Tim. I really appreciate you being on, and we'll have you on again for some more info soon.
Thanks for having me, and use Renee.